Welcome all to the New Dream Podcast. I'm Sarah Grady, and as Bryce Savage's song states, I'm a Pisces with no fake love here. My soul felt deeply called to create the New Dream movement of unconditional love and support for all, so here we are. Whether you're here for the stories, engaging authentic conversations, to discover new tools to create change in your life, or just the unconditional love and support that's felt, know that you are beyond welcomed. Take what fits for you, leave the rest, because life is yours to live and your heart will know the way. Let's get started creating our new dreams. Good morning and welcome. Today we have Cameo Haag on with us, aspiring and stepping into her authentic self as a marriage and relationship coach. And I can't wait to hear about your journey.
Oh, hi. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So currently,
Mhm.
I would love to know like your feeling and what you're experiencing in life right now. Just like
Yeah.
your how you're feeling in life.
I feel like a excited energy in my life again. For a period of time, there was a lot of sadness and like
Mhm.
heavy emotions I was feeling.
Right.
And part of that was not speaking into my truth of like who I am as a woman
Mhm.
and like having a strong message, and like God would kind of speak to me and I'm like, I don't really want to speak about that because sometimes it ignites people in a
Right.
way that triggers them. And then I'm like a people pleaser, so it makes me kind of like withdraw. So I'm just really like in a space right now where I really want to assist people in like stepping into having a powerful marriage and having a powerful sexual connection inside of their marriage.
Do you find yourself having that now? Like obviously you're
Yeah,
having this voice like you want to share with the world. Is it because of what you've gone through in your own marriage?
yeah, absolutely. So like I've been married for we met in 2000 and we got married in '01. So like we've been married for 22 years.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been a huge journey for me in the sexual relationship part of my marriage because of like some of the masculine wounding I carry. And then I project that onto my husband. And then it's like the lusty part of marriage was like so easy because that's like fueled by a different energy than when you really drop down into like the space of trust and surrender. And that's
Yeah.
where like some of those trauma emotions get sparked, and then it's easy to just pull back instead of lean in. So yeah,
Right.
I've done that a lot in my marriage. And I used to write a blog, and I'm gonna start writing again. And it was called Sexless Marriage No More, and it was all about
Oof.
like those moments that we go through where we like withdraw that part of ourselves. And I feel like women do it a lot more than men do it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I already am connecting wholeheartedly because I don't know, like we don't know each other outside of like the last few weeks, but that was a
yeah,
part of my journey too. Like in my marriage, I codependent people pleaser, all the things, and I tried to blow it up. So like
yeah,
I was gonna divorce and walk away. So what you're saying is just so validating because we all have those moments.
yeah.
And I'm curious, was there like a pivotal moment where you like was there something that caused you to finally just say like enough's enough? I can't live this way anymore.
Well, I read an article on KSL, and it was about sexless marriage, like people that
Okay.
have sex less than 10 times in a year.
Mhm.
And I just was like, that is me. And it was probably like 12 to 14 years into our marriage.
Mhm.
And so I thought, my husband is very sexually driven. Like, just, I mean, he's all for it whenever. He's always turned on, it seems like, which is so beautiful after being together for so long. Like, I really am trying to admire that instead of be like, oh gosh, stop touching me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and so I read that blog, and it was just like a lightning bolt hit me. And I just thought, I don't lean into this aspect of myself when it comes to like understanding all my emotions that I feel inside of the bedroom. Because
Mhm.
like I said, the lusty part was always pretty simple for me because it is more of a superficial kind of energy.
Right.
And then when that like fades, then there's a lot of like my emotions that would hold me back, where like, yes, I would have sex, but it wasn't like this emotional feeling that I just felt like I could have, but I wasn't having. And it was like these emotional blocks that I was just like keeping my husband at a distance, even when we're having the most intimate of connection.
Okay. So almost like you were having the physical connection, but you weren't
Yeah,
having like the intimate connection inside of the physical.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Okay.
more just like an experience instead of like a, oh, that was transformative. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
some type of sex that you can have when you surrender and you're so present and you're just in your body, versus like being in your mind, or, oh, I'll just have sex real quick so I can move on and do the laundry, or you know what I mean? Those different kinds of like
Right.
emotional aspects. Yeah.
Almost like it turned into like, oh, I have to go do this
Yeah.
instead of I get to do this.
Yeah, exactly. It was more like a, oh, let me put this on my like to-do list.
The
Like check,
check mark list.
has been done, check.
Enjoyed husband. Check mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I don't love that, but I love that because I connect with it so much.
Yeah, yeah. So once I read that article, I just felt drawn to like really lean into what was keeping me blocked and why was I feeling these feelings. And when really I
Right.
have this person I love so much and he loves me, like what is making it so I can't surrender or I don't feel like deeper feelings in my body. And so
Mhm.
then I started blogging, and it just kind of helped me process through some stuff because I like to write. And then it was fun to like hear other people say like, oh, I feel that way too. And I just really think it's a big thing inside of marriage.
I love that. I
Yeah.
before hopping on here, I did scroll through some of your Facebook messages, and I encourage all of our readers to find you and go and read some of the things that you are posting and when you start blogging again, because your words are just so beautiful and inspiring and raw. Like you don't
Oh,
sugarcoat, and I love it. Like give the raw, honest answers. Like just give me this knowledge that's like pouring out of you, and that's what I felt from what you were sharing.
oh, thank you. I'm glad
Absolutely.
that fans. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you read this article,
Mhm.
like, did you sit down and have a conversation with your husband? Or did you just start doing this like all behind the scenes?
No, like we are like that's one powerful place in our marriage. We've always had very strong communication. So
Okay.
I did tell him like it just feels like this is what we are experiencing as a sexless marriage. And I really want to lean into like writing and discovering myself and really figuring out why I have all this stuff happening. And then he was just very supportive and just, you
Mm.
know, helped me. Like when I would vlog, he would read them and be like, oh, yeah. And sometimes we would do videos. He hates being on camera. So we don't do videos together anymore. But when that was 10 years ago, and like he did do some videos with me, and we put them up on YouTube. And I mean, it was fun to like kind of connect in that way. But he's always been like super supportive. And yeah, so I'm the one like I have had, you know, some trauma in my sexual experiences of being a woman.
Right.
And he has not had any of that as being a man. And I know some men do, but he has not. And so he's
Right.
very free flowing in his sexual energy. And I have some hangups, you know, because I
Mhm.
have had some traumatic things happen in my life that keep that and by the masculine. So then it kind of keeps, even though he hasn't done it, it still
Yep.
creates that energy flow of like, I don't know, you know?
I absolutely relate. I have some of my own trauma from my
Mhm.
childhood, and it really does change things. Like everyone responds differently in those situations and how they move forward. And it really is it's an internal process of trying to figure out like, where do I want to take these next steps? What do I want to allow in? What makes me feel safe? And I'm sure having that supportive energy from your husband definitely helped for you to like process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. So what were some of the things that you did moving through that, like through this like difficult realization, really? Did you just
Yeah,
do like the deep dive of like, let me know all the things? Like,
yeah,
did you start reading everything that you could get your hands on?
yeah. As I say, I definitely read a lot of like sexual books, and then there's an aspect of just like the self help of like our shadow self and things that like can really come up in the bedroom. I feel like a lot of the energy that women feel like it's really not from the sexual experience. It's like
Right.
all these other aspects of us that do come into the bedroom with us, and it's we can't just turn them off.
Right.
And so yeah, so I started blogging, and then I just really committed to like being sexual with my husband, even if it felt like I'm tired or I don't, I've had a long day, and it's just like riding a bike. Like sometimes you get on a bike and it's like so fun, and then other times you're like, oh, I don't want to ride a bike. And it almost felt that same way to me sexually sometimes, where it was like I was very excited, and then there were times that I was like, I really don't want to do this, and not that I was like forcing myself to, but like I wanted to work through some of those emotions that I was feeling instead of just turn away from them and like keep them hidden inside myself. So, um,
Okay.
like I just really committed to leaning into the sexual aspects of myself. And even if I felt sad, and I would just tell my husband, like, I might cry or I might even feel angry, or there's a lot of emotions that come up that I feel like we judge ourselves and we think, oh, I shouldn't feel that way sexually. But I believe it like frees emotion. And sometimes you're going to laugh and cry, and sometimes you're going to feel almost like a hatred, because it's like emotion freeing in your body is how it was for me.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but with
Mhm.
what you're saying, it almost sounds like you were using like this movement, because obviously like any sort of movement in our body is going to
Yeah.
be it's going to create release, which
Hmm.
is helpful for energy release. So it almost sounds like you were using this as sort of like your own release, honoring the emotions, honoring how you're feeling, but using it as like a catalyst for growth to move forward with intimacy with your husband, your partner, as your support.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Exactly. That's exactly what
Okay.
and I still do.
Okay.
Hmm.
I actually really connect with that because I feel like my husband and I kind of do the same thing. It's
Hmm.
more like, especially my husband more so than me. Sometimes, like when I need to do energy, it's more like I need to meditate. I need to do it myself.
Yeah.
But for him, he's like, I'm stressed out. Like, I just need to feel you. Like, I need
Yeah.
to have that connection and move this energy. So
Hmm.
I love that. It's so beautiful because I think that's where the intimacy probably comes from. Because, like, you can have sex and you can have intimacy, but they're not necessarily together if you're not connecting the emotions.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Mm.
I feel like that maybe was you building that intimacy with your husband. Do you notice that it's definitely like improved things moving forward?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we talk a lot about like what we want in the bedroom and like how we're feeling, or you know what I mean? Like we have a very open dialogue when it comes to like the sexual side of our marriage. And it always
Right.
has been something that has been a part of our marriage. And I feel like it's really kept us together. And there has been a lot of painful aspects of it too, where I do feel withdrawn and I don't feel like connecting. And he wants that, but I don't want it. But
Right.
it's all coming from that intimate like space where sometimes I just don't feel safe around the masculine, and it's not from him. It's just like an energy that I'm feeling that I can easily withdraw
Right.
my energy from my marriage.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's so many of us that walk around in our masculine sense. Like, I know not a lot of people, like, there's a lot of different ways of looking at energy, but the way that I see it is there's the yin and the yang, the masculine, the feminine, and we all have both in our bodies. And if it's not balanced, that's when we're like, if we're in our feminine, we can be soft and connecting and be open to creative expression. But the masculines that like do, go, 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 like I've got to be action oriented. And there's a lot of us that are stuck in that. And I like sex is really a mental game for I try to say feminine, but like I try to honor the fact that there are different people, like, and everyone has different pronouns in the way that they show up in the world. So it's hard to use like the feminine, the masculine energies and honor it, but also honor it for other people that see it differently. But this is how I experience energies. And that's what I see is like you're stuck in this, I'm not safe. So I have to stay in my masculine to keep myself safe, which then creates a divide with other people that are also in their masculine, because how do we connect?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
And I love that for you.
Yeah. And in my marriage, like I do really feel like I probably do lead more with my masculine energy. And my husband is kind of more of a like a softer feminine like energy as well, you know. Right. And so it does work, but sometimes like I'll be in my masculine and he'll be in his, and that's like where you hit heads a lot, you know. And then I've really focused on trying to be more in my feminine, but then that almost makes me like, for me, it almost makes me too docile, where I like withdraw too much because I had a very wounded mother, and that's just like what I saw as a child. And I feel like that energy like gets activated in me when I try to really like be in my feminine. So yeah, there is like that beautiful balance, and every person, no matter what gender, where you're at in life, we all have that masculine and feminine energy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful to hear someone else going through like that similar experience, but seeing how you moved through it, because there really is so like hundreds of thousands of different ways to figure your way through these really difficult and overwhelming and sometimes dividing things that we go through in life. And that's why I love having these conversations, because our stories are very similar, but you did it in such a unique and different way of overcoming it and moving through it and connecting with your wholeness again, with your oneness. And it's just so beautiful to hear. Like, and that you get to do it through human connection, and like, I don't know, sex can definitely be fun.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
So, what is it that you are creating? Like, where is this leading you? Like, you want to help, and you want to move forward with trying to be that light for people who are struggling in these really hard messages and really want to make things work with their partner. Where are you moving in the world with that?
So I am creating a program called the Heal Your Sexual Soul. And so it will be all about like just really diving into those sexual aspects. Like I said, I think it's easy for us to like look at our shadow selves, or look at like how our mom and dad were, and like how that really affects us in a relationship. But it's like, how do all those things really affect you, how you show up in the bedroom, and how you're experiencing your sexual side of yourself inside of a marriage is really where I want to focus on, because I am married and like it's been a thing for me, you know, and that's where I really feel like I could serve women in the world, and some men that feel drawn to me, that I could assist. Like, so I'm creating like a book that, you know, they can get shipped to somebody, they could work on their own, or they could also coach with me, and I could like help them process through different things. Because I think we get so much out of speaking to somebody. Like, you can give yourself aha moments most of the time just by having somebody to like listen and talk to, you know.
Absolutely. I just spoke on this on the podcast a few weeks ago. Those
Yeah.
aha moments when you're speaking to somebody else and you're like, well, dang it, that's what I needed to hear right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what coaches are. They
Hmm.
lead you to just recognize things inside yourself that need to be brought out. And really it's just like a guide that can kind of help you realize those things.
Absolutely. My biggest thing with like coaching and why I think I've always been
Mhm.
so authentic with it is you have everything that you need inside of you. The
Mhm.
the difficult part of moving through it is you don't feel safe, and
Yeah.
it can be lonely and exhausting, especially when you're a people person and you really just want
Mhm.
connection. So
Mhm.
that a coach really can just give you that safe space for you to uncover all of those things that are hiding inside of you because the answers are there. You just need a safe place to be able to connect with them again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just had been coaching somebody and we were just doing like Marco Polos back and forth. And it's like
Mhm.
you're not really having a conversation, you're talking really to yourself, and then the person responds to you, you know.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how many times they're like, oh, that's what I needed to hear. You know what I mean? And it's
I
just like
love that.
coming up in them, but it's just like you spark something and then it makes them realize, like, oh, yeah. So it is really
Oh,
a beautiful thing. Coaching, I really see the power in that for sure.
I
Mhm.
love that for you so much. Like
Yeah.
I already feel super connected with you. Like, and just the
Oh,
validation that your story can be so inspiring for so many, because I know like if I would have heard you 4 years ago when I was going through what I was going through with my husband, it probably would have made me rethink a lot of the things that was going through my brain at that time.
yeah.
And that's why I love these conversations. You know, I
Mhm.
it might be exactly what somebody needs to hear for them to be like, I don't have to stay in this negative vibration anymore. I can take back my power. I can let people in. It is safe to do so. And even if something, the shit hits the fan, it
Mhm.
it's okay because I've survived all of it that was thrown at me before. I can survive this too.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And having someone like you is important. And I'm just so glad you went like an article. Like, I don't know. For me, it's just so awesome. Like this stuff, like this podcast, this episode,
Mhm.
just you and I having a conversation. It's going to land in the lap of somebody who needed to hear it today, just like that article that you found that you
Yeah.
needed to hear that day, and all those
Mhm.
seeds, those synchronicities. And we get to be a part of that in this beautiful journey of life.
Yeah. Yeah. The human experience. It's amazing.
It is. I'm so grateful
Mhm.
that we cross paths. So, is there one thing that if you were to give somebody like a quick, simple technique or like a quick advice of some
Mhm.
sort,
Yeah.
what is it that you would tell them?
I would say that your bedroom is an adult playground, right?
Mm.
So we need to be like
Mhm.
bringing and trying different things, just like when you go on a playground, there's the monkey bars and there's a thing you can climb on and there's the swings. And I feel like in sex, we can get very like one dimensional, where it's like
Mhm.
there's so many things that we could bring into this aspect of our marriage.
Right.
And I think boredom is what makes people withdraw from that space. And so it's like if you can find different things to bring into that bedroom space to just have fun and laugh and try things. And sometimes they don't work, right? Like you're like, oh,
Right.
that was like, let's not do that again. I think that is what has like made that so much more enjoyable for me. Is like I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna put on the sexy lingerie, or I'm gonna set up a little sexy massage for my husband, or I'm gonna tell him I want this, or let's try this, or and some things work really great, and some things you're like, okay, let's not do that again. You know, that was weird. But even those parts like make you more connected, and or and just to really be vulnerable in like your emotional self of how you feel.
Right.
So voicing like that does not feel good, or I do not like that, or don't pull my hair so hard, or different things where
Right.
I think a lot of women just kind of, oh, I'll just go with it. But it's like we really want to enjoy ourselves in the bedroom too, and voicing what you want and what you like and what you don't want is a very important aspect of that.
Absolutely. Almost like making sure that you're healing that people pleaser in us.
Yeah.
Like we get to enjoy it too. It really is a partnership, not just you
Yeah.
serving somebody else.
Right. Exactly.
I love that message so much
Yeah.
because it doesn't just stay in the bedroom either, because if that's the first step it takes to reconnect with your voice, it's a beautiful place to start.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
it's going to lead into the other aspects into your life and create that change that's necessary for you to feel whole.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been like the most beautiful place for me to find my healing. And also like so sad at times, because it is a very intimate space, and it will bring
Right.
up a lot of emotion. And it's not even about your husband per se. It's like things that are just in your body that the energy starts flowing, and it's like it makes you feel different emotions, and they're not always the most beautiful of emotions, but it's like it's okay. Like you just get to process through those and understand where they're coming from, and then just allow yourself to move through those instead of I would always make myself feel wrong. Like, why do I feel sad, or why do I feel angry, or why am I not just having orgasm after orgasm? But it's like it's because of these different layers of trauma that are inside of us that for me would come up in that very intimate space.
Right.
They wouldn't really come up in a lot of other aspects of my life.
Now, here's my question. I mean, obviously you had it with your husband, but for people that might want to take this advice and try, utilizing it and trying to use
Yeah.
it to create change in their life, would you definitely recommend having that open line of like super supportive communication first? So that way they're not like, I don't know, stepping into something that might not be safe. You know what I mean? Coming from having like that trauma from our childhood, or from like
Yeah.
having experiences like that, you definitely need to make sure that you have that open, safe communication probably before stepping into it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would definitely create a container of this is what I want to try. This is what I want to experience inside of this intimate space. And letting your husband know, or like, I might feel sad or I might feel angry, but it has really not anything to do with you per se. Like I'm just feeling a lot of different emotions. And I think like creating that, like then it kind of helps your spouse too feel like, oh, okay, like I'm not doing something wrong in the bedroom to make her sad or to make her, you know what I mean? It's just things that like you're experiencing with the energy flow in your system.
Right.
So yeah, definitely creating a conversation around that is very, very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we touched on that, because I know like that can get to a super confusing area,
Yeah.
because like it is very intimate. And if you step into it without having the conversation and being open and honest and intentional with it, it could almost cause like, I don't know, adverse reactions,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's,
And
yeah.
you got to be in a space in your marriage where like you do feel somewhat safe with your spouse,
Right.
And it's like there are probably marriages where it's not going to be possible. Like there's too much heaviness to even like get to that space. But for the marriages that are just like, oh, I want more of this intimacy, I want more of this connection, I want to feel more in the bedroom, like those are the couples that can have that conversation and step into that journey. But yeah, it's definitely not for every
Beautiful.
marriage. Like, some marriages are probably done, or some marriages there's too much pain and it's not even possible, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Or there's got to be that open dialogue first before
Yeah.
stepping into that super intimate,
Mm-hmm.
you know, raw space. Because
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I'm so inspired by you. I think a lot of people need to hear that message. And so I have one final question.
Okay.
When you hear the phrase the new dream, what does it bring up feeling wise? Like, what does it make you
Mm,
think of?
yeah. I love that. I love that name. It's so beautiful.
Thank
But
you.
for me, like I instantly thought of like my marriage and my relationship and
Mhm.
me as a woman, like stepping into, I can create that dream. You know, for a long time, it's like I wanted my husband to create all this magic for me. But it's like the divine feminine can awaken that and create that dream of having that relationship that's so beautiful and connected, and just that you can build this amazing life together, you know? And
Yeah,
so that's what like I thought about when I heard it.
I love that. We are the creators of our reality.
Mhm. Yeah, but
I love that. That's what you heard. That's what you felt.
yeah.
Good things, all good things.
I
All right.
know, it's beautiful.
I absolutely appreciate you and your message. And I just thank you for sharing your light and your beauty and just being here, being a light and a beacon for those that need you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on and seeing that in me and wanting to be part of my journey as well.
Absolutely. You have a
Yeah.
beautiful day.
Oh, you too.
Thank you.
Got those pretty eyes that are 1 in a million. She looks like the sun and moon has some children.